In today's video, I'm going to answer how my workflow looks like for all my typical cello videos. So to start things off, how I decide the piece is a mixture of what you guys suggest and where I'm at in my cello playing style, wanting to perform-ish feeling. And that decides the difficulty level of the piece that I'm going to learn. They usually take a couple of days to learn because I want to do them by heart, because I know I can deliver them better that way and focus on the line and tell a story with the music that will come across into the recording and into the camera. So I usually try to learn it, and this is on top of me teaching and gigging and playing in orchestras when the world is more normal. And I always practice several hours a day, so somewhere there I always try to fit in to film and perform for you guys. So I walk into the studio here, I make sure that all the lights are well positioned, and also obviously you guys, the camera is well positioned. It's so much more fidgety things in the background that you don't realize, and it's not that interesting for you to hear, but oh my, there's many times where I've had a take and in the corner you can see a black like the lamp, or like a black shade of a lamp or something that just is ruining the shot, or maybe the light composition is completely off, so it's a little bit more yellow white in that corner compared to what I want it to be. I want it to be crispy white. There's a lot of stuff like that goes into it. Anyway, so if I get all of that sorted out, right positioning, I've learned the piece, I sit down. It takes a lot of takes for me to get something that I will be able to accept and live with being up on YouTube for a while. My perfectionism is always something I fight with, because you're never going to be satisfied. That's just how it is, and I've just grown to accept it. And perfectionism is good, but it can also inhibit growth, which is something I always try to work on as well. It's a fine balance. So I take the take, I get the take. Now I want to make it more interesting and get more angles. So by the way, so all my musical performances are always one takes. So what I actually do, because I don't have money for several cameras, what I actually do, which is quite funny, I think a lot of more musicians on YouTube does this without saying it, but is that, so the main frame is always one take for me, but the different angles, they are just perfectly synced performances again. So I play the track again, or I play it exactly the thing, and since I already performed it and I know how to perform it and I performed it to the perfection I want, I can replicate it. So I can replicate the performance again and film in a different angle, and in post-production I can sync that to the main take, which is always which I also find it's kind of a fun little game to play with yourself. Like, can I replicate exactly what I did? I usually can. It's quite interesting with the human body with that. So basically I get a final take, and then I take that final take and play it so many times more, just to sort of have good angles and have the syncing correctly. But the soundtrack will always be from the main take that you see on the camera. So that's what you can sort of get from it. So I usually take a lot more takes. And after that, I'm a Mac user, so I always use an external sound card. I have mics that I enjoy, and I use Logic X for the recording software. That's what I work in when I record. So I obviously, before I even take all the takes, I have to cut and get the final product that I like, so I know exactly what to replicate. I forgot to say that, but that's how I listen to what I should replicate again for other angles. When I'm finally done with that, it takes a while, I export that track, I bring it into Final Cut Pro, which is the editing software that I use, import all my footage there, and I sync the recorded music, and I replace the camera sound with the mic sound, which is a lot nicer, but I line them up perfectly. So it just basically just replaces the camera sound, because the camera sound quality is not as good, unfortunately. I wish it was, but yeah, so that's how it goes. And after that, I just start editing. And that's just a journey in itself. I could talk a lot about how I'm just so self-taught when it comes to this. I usually try to edit and cut where I sort of enjoy to be, where it feels the best for me, basically. If I'm trying to think, if I'm in your shoes, what I would sort of react on if the cut is too sudden or too short, or oh, I'm a little bit bored at this angle now. And yeah, that's kind of how I hope you get an idea of sort of how this goes with all that. To add on top of this workflow, if I'm doing a track that has several layers, so a lot of harmonization, like let's say all the arrangements that I've done. So the Baja usually is only me playing, but if you hear more things, it's always me playing. So I'm gonna round off the video there to try and not make it too long. Hope you got a better idea of how this actually works. If you want to check my performances that I talked about, I'm gonna put them up here now. Or hopefully they are floating here. If not, you should go to my channel and just check out some cello playing that I do. You know what I'm gonna say. If you want to see more, and if you're still here, subscribe, hit that like button, comment, tell me what you think about this. It's fun for me to hear your thoughts around this subject, actually. Special thank you to my patrons. And yeah, also don't forget to hit that bell and enable notifications so you'll be notified of all my videos. I forgot to say that. All right, see you in the next video.